Testing.
Hello? Yes. We have one for University Affairs. Yes. Um, I talked to the other contestants or the other debaters, and I'll raise my paper whenever you have 20 seconds left. I'll hand it over to my assistant editor, Daisha.
Are we ready?
Yes, testing? This worked? All right, awesome.
Yes.
All right, perfect. So thank you so much for everyone. Okay. Thank you so much for everyone for coming in here today. Jay, for right now, the debate is going to be for the Vice President of University Affairs. My name is Daisha Gear. I am the assistant editor for the Daily Aztec. And to my right is Christian Hauser, who is the news editor for the Daily Aztec. So before we get started, can we have a brief introduction of all of you three? Like a 30-second introduction.
Alcaminuwe Derek Herrera Nucci. Hello, everyone. My name is Derek Herrera. I'm a third year on campus. I am running to be your next Vice President of University Affairs. Thank you, everyone, especially the Daily Aztec, for putting on these debates. I really appreciate the allotment of time that you guys are taking to participate in our student government. My passion is derived directly from students. Being a student that is from a minoritized group on campus, I've realized my unique experiences are valid, but I'm not the only one on campus having these unique experiences. That said, I have the privilege and the time to be able to serve students, to preach for students, and to be your next Vice President of University Affairs. Thank you.
All right, hello everyone. My name is Ali Gallant, and first off, I just wanted to thank the Daily Aztec for hosting this event, as well as all students for showing their support. I think it's incredibly important that all students are able to listen into some of the important things that are being discussed here today. I would say, first of all, I am a political science major, as well as an international security and conflict resolution minor. I am originally from Sacramento. I have one brother, and I'm extremely close to my family, so that's something that's important to me. Serving as the College of Arts and Letters representative for Associated Students, I have a vital understanding of participating in UC meetings, which is something that the Vice President of University Affairs is incredibly integral to as well. I would also say my experience in various cultural and religious organizations on campus and my internship for Senator Feinstein has prepared me well for this role of Vice President of University Affairs. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ethan Ho, and I'm running to be your next Vice President of University Affairs. I would first, as well, like to thank the Daily Aztec for hosting these debates and to get the word out of what our values are and our goals with this position. I'm a second year, and I am a psychology major with a minor in public administration, with minor in public administration, and as well as that with honors in interdisciplinary studies. The reason I am here today in front of you is that I believe that change is really possible when you unite together as one. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And so as we get into the open forum for the debates, we'll give you guys a 3.5-minute debate for like the opening questions. And as Christian said, we'll give you a 20-second warning of when your time is about to conclude. All right, so let's get started. So Ethan, what inspired you to run for this position?
Okay, so the reason why I am standing in front of you here today is that as a second year and within the last 2 years that I have been on this campus, I've noticed a lot of complaints on this campus and student leaders saying that they would do the change, yet not being transparent enough with the student body and seeing that change possible. An example I can think of is the safety on this campus and lighting. If I wasn't in AS, I wouldn't have known that we have done walkarounds within AS, yet even as a first year, they said they would do walkarounds. They did walkarounds again this semester, yet there still has not been a change in increased lighting. It's already been 2 years. That's half my college experience. Why has there not been more lighting on this campus? That is one of them, and another are the, I guess you could say, normalized issues on this campus, such as meal plan. A lot of students doesn't like meal plan, yet we are still okay with it as a first year and having to pay for the fees up front. And yeah, that is why I'm here today, to create that change. Thank you.
Thank you. And so the same question applies to Ali as well. I forgot to mention that you guys have 1:30 seconds. So what inspired you to run for this position?
My father was the first person in his family to attend college and the only person in his family to attend college. Growing up, there was always this value of education that was instilled in my family, and I think growing up there was this expectation that I get good grades, I succeed academically, and ultimately I'm prepared for a career post-college. I think also just growing up, there's an incredible importance on academic values, and I want to instill that in other people as well as advocating for those who are experiencing barriers to be able to achieve their educational opportunities. And I think it's important that I advocate for students and listen and respond to some of the complaints that they are hearing about different various policies on campus that are being enacted, and ensure to create change within the administration and within SDSU for those students. Thank you.
And the same question applies to you, Derek. What inspired you to run for this position?
Thank you. My journey in higher education has been quite a bit of something. I am a first-generation student, and I'm proud of that. I'm a proud son of also an immigrant, and I think it is important to acknowledge that I have fought my way to be here in higher ed. Coming into SDSU, I had to appeal to get into San Diego State. I didn't get in immediately, but I'm proud to say that. One thing I'd also like to acknowledge is that the resources that I tried to attain and that I've been attaining on campus have also been such a battle, and have been such a unique experience for me today. It's made me who I am today, to be an advocate for students. That said, expanding my communities and expanding my pathways of talking to people, I've learned that my experiences is unique, but so many other people have unique experiences as well. And I realize that somebody needs to step up to the plate and talk about not only academics, but what goes on at our university. Ask questions like why Title IX office and administration has lack of support. Ask why we are not taking accountability for things that happen on our campus. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to our next question. Tell us more about your involvement here at SDSU, and how do you believe these organizations help you prepare for this position? This is a 1:30 question. Ali, starting with you first.
Sure. As mentioned before, I currently serve as the College of Arts and Letters representative. So essentially, I get to participate in UC meetings. And the UC meetings are run by the Vice President of University Affairs. I think that I have gained an integral understanding of the interworkings of Associated Students through my heavy involvements in Associated Students. But also stepping outside of Associated Students, I served as an intern for Senator Feinstein's office and was able to witness legislative policies that were being enacted at the state level and ways in which it impacted San Diego residents. Additionally, outside of AS and outside of my internship, I'm involved in various different cultural, religious, and academic organizations here on campus. I serve on the leadership team of Young Life, and I have also been involved in Run Club as well as Model UN, and I feel as if my involvements have really given me a diverse understanding of the student body. And I have seen just different various needs on campus, and I feel as if I can advocate for students in that way through my diverse involvements, as well as just my ability to listen to other students and feel their needs and advocate for them for their future needs. Thank you.
Thank you. So the question is also for Derek as well. Describe your involvement here at SDSU, and how do you believe these organizations helped you prepare for this position?
Yes. Starting out at SDSU, I was first an Ilimash UCHUP Scholar, which is a mentorship program catered for Native students who are first years and transfer students. Building off of that, I gradually built my way to become Native American Student Alliance Chair, as well as the Secretary of the Indigenous Social Workers Alliance. Not only do I do that, I sit on boards like External Relations Board and University Affairs Board, and I have the privilege to take the time out of my day to do that. Gradually, I've also built the position to be in Associated Students on the Judicial Affairs Council, where now I've realized that I've been touching across the board, and I'm ready to bring my perspective and my community to the forefront. Not only mine, but communities that we haven't reached, and I know we won't reach in the future. I'm ready to prevent that. Thank you.
Thank you. So Ethan, what is your involvement here at SDSU, and how do you believe your involvement in these organizations helped you prepare for this position?
Okay, so in my first year, I joined Student Support Commission, Aztec Student Union Board, and Aztec Student Union Board Operations. Within Student Support Commission, I quickly learned that change is possible and action does go a long way, and voices in these small commissions does play a large impact. Within the Student Support Commission, I learned about the food pantry and how we were able to grow it. I was there when there was no food pantry yet on the second floor, when it was still on campus next to the bookstore. So it wasn't even like a fully set position yet. So I learned that even though I was only there for a year, I was able to see the food pantry develop into what it is today. Within the Aztec Student Union Board, I saw the many events that we could do for students and how we could reach out to the students to have them more feel prideful to be on this university, and along with that, to feel a sense of community. Within Operations Committee, within ASUB, I learned that you can make a lasting impact, such as the furniture in the turtle pond. It's such a small thing, but we were able to change the furniture into what it is now and for students to enjoy that space. I currently am involved in University Affairs Board. I'm also, just like Derek, an AS Justice with him on Judicial Affairs Council. And within cultural organizations, I am the FTS coordinator, and I was the executive assistant for APSA. Within that role, I learned how to work with a board of 18 people, which, as you know, is a big board to communicate with, to have your voice heard, but to also take a step back to allow the voices of others within that board to speak up. And that is why I'm here today.
Thank you. So SDSU is a university that's consistently accepting more applicants to the school, and this could potentially create more obstacles for each student to receive an equal amount of academic resources. My question is to you again, Ethan. In what ways are you aiming to create more accessibility for students regarding the waitlist for classes and academic advising due to the growing number of students? This question is a minute and 30 seconds.
Okay, so with the university allowing more students to attend here, there needs to be a platform for students to voice their concerns. We currently have the Your Voice Matters campaign, yet because of inadequate marketing, not enough students are aware of this initiative. So with this, if I was given the opportunity, I would host monthly open forums for students to come in person, and to speak their mind and to hear what the AS leaders have been doing for them. This would increase more transparency and for students to really understand what student government is here and how it can play a large role in their current lives. So although I don't have the solution to how we could, I guess you could say, improve my SDSU for more students, and the frustrations along with having wait times of being randomly chosen of when you get to choose your schedule, having these platforms and having these resources available for them, they can at least have their voice heard and feel acknowledged by the university. And along with that, if they did have concerns, I guess I could help them direct them to different resources that we have, such as peer advisors, star centers, and the many resources that students can provide for other students. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question follows for Derek as well. In what ways are you aiming to create more accessibility for students on campus regarding the waitlist for classes and academic advising due to the growing number of students?
I think that's a very important question. Myself, I've realized that the wait list and registration process on campus, especially now with the My SDSU transition, has been very impactful. I'm still waiting to take classes that I need to graduate. And now with My SDSU, it's become a lottery system. Like my opponent, Ethan, said, Your Voice Matters is a way that we have an outlet to talk about our concerns. And especially as your Vice President of University Affairs, this is one of the biggest things that I have dealing with academics. But the work doesn't stop there. I think that Your Voice Matters is great, and we have a great sense of documentation, but it's time to respond to students. It's time to let them know that their voices are actually being heard, that we are actually giving them the voice, and Your Voice Matters. That said, I'm ready to have one-on-ones with conversations and reach communities that are seeing these wait lists impact them. I'm tired of hearing my fellow students waiting and almost on the verge of tears to see if they're gonna graduate this semester and have to be competitive in a 30-slot class, because I know how that feels. That said, I'm willing to expand the resources and work with academic policy and planning to see what ways we could create an effective wait list and registration system for our university. Thank you.
Thank you. The exact question follows for Ali as well. In what ways are you aiming to create more accessibility for students regarding the wait list for classes and academic advising due to the growing number of students?
I agree that the growing number of students that SDSU has begun to accept is a growing problem within our community, as well as academic problems that students are facing, but also housing crises. And students are unable to live in certain dorms due to the growing number of students that we're accepting. But as far as academics are related, one of my main goals is to improve my SDSU. My SDSU is currently not serving students. When we went around and we did our walk-arounds to various communities and campuses here, many of the concerns that students expressed were regarding my SDSU and their incapability to register for classes on time, to be able to be approved by their professors when they were on the wait list. Professors were having a hard time accepting students and entering that specific code that is needed to allow students to enter into their classes, but also problems relating to being unable to receive their financial documents through my SDSU and pop-up windows being blocked, as well as scheduling and timetables that were issues with my SDSU as well. So I think within this role, I would hope to improve my SDSU and make it more accessible to students so that students are able to achieve the academic success that is so integral to them being able to develop their post-graduation opportunities. Students must succeed academically first in order to be able to achieve and move on and advance their career. And I think that this is such an integral part of my role here as Vice President of University Affairs, and ensuring that everyone has a right to education and their ability to achieve such a quality education here at SDSU. Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on to our next question, starts off with Derek. What is your take on balancing mental health and academics when it comes to students who are managing a full-time or part-time status? This question is emitted in 30 seconds long.
Thank you. I think this is a really important question, and I'm going to be fully transparent. My first year at SDSU, I personally took a leave of absence my second semester because I needed to focus on mental health and prioritize me first prior to my academics. A lot of things that students don't realize is that we have accessibility to things like credit, no credit, in which I'm willing to reestablish and work with academic planning and policy to see what options we have to put students first. Academics isn't solely a transcript. We have to have good health and maintain mental health in order to succeed at our university. I think working with my executive vice president and serving on the Mending Minds board this past year, I want to create an initiative, extend an initiative that prioritizes mental health in academia. Oftentimes, students don't feel supported on our campus. For example, our Kapuli Center is overloaded and we can't even accommodate student needs on campus to see just a therapist. They tell you, you could get an appointment out of 2 months out in advance. What about students that are in crises now? We need to do something now. That said, when I hop on board, I'm ready to bring all the assets I can, especially working with administration and my whole team to see what we could do to make mental health a priority on our campus, because academics is one thing, but us being students and being humans is another. Thank you.
Thank you. Ali, what is your take on balancing mental health and academics when it comes to students who are managing a full-time or part-time status?
Academics is so much more than just getting good grades and a good GPA. You need so many other items to be able to succeed academically, which is one of my main priorities here on campus, especially when it comes to mental health. We've seen through COVID-19 that the world is more far apart than ever, and it's exacerbated these inequalities, as well as we've seen rising in depression and anxiety rates among campus and among students here. It's incredibly saddening, and I think that something needs to be done. Working with my executive vice president, I hope to continue the Mending Minds campaign and initiatives here on campus in order to promote the different resources that are available to students, and a lot of students aren't aware that these resources are available to them. I would hope to continue to promote mental health through various social media campaigns that we have here on campus, or promoting the Cal Poly Resource Center as a way for students to get the help that they need. So I think it's important that we promote the resources that we already have here on campus, as well as continue to initiate new resources and new ways of finding support for these students that are in desperate need of help due to the mental health crisis that is facing our society today. Thank you.
The same question applies to you, Ethan, as well. What is your take on balancing mental health and academics when it comes to students who are managing a full-time or part-time status?
Okay, so before I address that question, I believe there's a larger issue at hand, as where it doesn't matter how hard AS works if students are not aware of what AS does. I've entered many spaces within the last week, and I've asked them, how many of you guys raise your hands if you know what AS is? I would say, on average, 1/10 of the students would raise their hands. It doesn't matter if you have a social campaign and you push Mending Minds further and you push more mental health initiatives. If students are not aware of what AS is in the beginning, it's not going to be reaching out to students in general. So as student leaders, we have to see how can we reach out to students? How can we be there for students? Before addressing smaller issues such as, or I guess you could say, not smaller issues, but before going into more details, there is a larger issue at hand where students aren't even aware of what AS does. They're not aware of the resources that AS has, such as the Capoli Center, the 4th floor, I believe. The 4th floor is where you can enter, it's a safe space for you to enter and to relax. I was aware of it in my first year. I asked my friends, they have no idea what I'm talking about. They don't even know where the Capoli Center is located. There needs to be a refresh in what AS does to have more students be aware of our campaigns, such as YVM, Rock the Vote, and Mending Minds, such as that. But until that is done, I believe we should focus on that first before going into other campaigns, because that has already been done. We haven't been pushing social media within the last few days. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we're going to move on to individual questions for each candidate, starting off with Ali first. So in your statement, you said you wish to improve my.sdsu and facilitate processes for students to receive and enhance academic support. What issues do you believe are found in my.sdsu, and how do you hope to improve this program to ensure that students receive the appropriate academic resources?
Sure. In recent conversations with students, as well as our walkarounds to various aspects of campus, a lot of students have expressed their frustration with MySDSU and it not being adequate enough to suit their academic needs. First of all, students are expressing frustration with this course schedule that's convoluted and does not allow them to accommodate their classes so that they can schedule them accordingly. There should be a calendar view. There should be no convoluted view that doesn't allow students to actually see what they have scheduled for classes. As well as access to, professors are expressing frustration with course waitlists and not being able to add students from their waitlists into their classes. I think these are incredible issues that detriment student success, and it's important that we improve those student success by finding tangible ways to improve MySDSU, and I hope to work with administration and representatives from MySDSU to find tangible ways in which we can improve the user interface and improve student life here. Thank you.
Thank you. So Ethan, in your statement, you said how some of the students' concerns you're aiming to address involves food insecurity and transparency among the student body. What initiatives are you aiming to take regarding reducing food insecurity and as well to increase transparency to ensure that student voices are heard?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, of course. What initiatives are you aiming to take regarding reducing food insecurity and as well to increase transparency to ensure that student voices are heard?
Okay, so like I said, if I was given the opportunity to be your Vice President of University Affairs, even though it's not within the bylaws for me to do so, I would host monthly open forums for students to come into. Having this shows that student leaders are open to students coming in, and it opens up a space for students to feel comfortable speaking up for. Addressing the food insecurities, like I said, I've worked with student support before, last year in my first year, and we have been growing. The food pantry has been growing on this campus. I would say every week, there are more and more students coming in. And while that is good, I still think there needs to be more marketing, more awareness of what the food pantry does for you and the resources that it can give to you when talking about food insecurities. Along with that, there's also the ECRT, the Economic Crisis Response Team, that is there for students regarding food insecurities. Thank you.
Thank you. So Derek, in your statement, one of your goals for this position is to expand the Your Voice Matters initiative to create academic outreach that addresses student concerns. In what ways are you aiming to expand the Your Voice Matters initiative, and what can students expect out of this expansion when it comes to addressing student issues?
Thank you. I alluded to this a little bit prior, but I need to go in more in depth in it. So Your Voice Matters is currently a Google form that we have that is catered and served under University Affairs Board. However, I feel that just the documentation alone and getting the Google form and the automated response back isn't adequate enough for students, let alone the issues that they think that they could report. I myself, coming into SDSU, thought Your Voice Matters was just the assumption of academic concerns and facilities, but there are a lot more concerns on campus growing these days, such as safety concerns, of course now academic policy, and financial and food insecurity. This is a resource in which every student could use, and I'm willing to expand that to give students a voice, to have conversations rather than meeting them with the Google form or directing them elsewhere. They could speak one-on-one with me, because we're both students. I'm not any different. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we're going to be moving on to our closing statement for all three of you guys. And this statement is a 40-second response for all three of you. So starting off with Derek, why should students vote for you to become the next Vice President of University Affairs?
I believe students should vote for me for the next Vice President of University Affairs because I reach across the board. I'm so ready to offer the toolkit that I have coming to SDSU and having such a unique background. I'm ready to bring passion, and I'm so privileged to bring that to y'all. I am one of the first Native American councilmen, and I'm ready to be the first Native American exec. I'm ready to bring new prospects to associated students. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Ali next. Why should students vote for you to become the next Vice President of the University Affairs?
I'm confident that my experiences serving as a College of Arts and Letters representative, intern for Senator Dianne Feinstein, as well as various involvements in different parts of campus, I believe that I have the understanding and the knowledge necessary to be your next Vice President of University Affairs. I also have 3 tangible goals that I'm working towards within this role. One includes working to implement extracurricular opportunities for students post-graduation, whether that's through research, internships, networking opportunities. My second goal is to improve my SDSU and make it more accessible to students. And lastly, I hope to increase transparency between administration and students, and specifically in regards to campus fees and policies that are being enacted without student support. I thank you all for listening here today. I really appreciate you all being out here. It was incredible to speak with you all, and I hope that you will vote for me for Vice President University Affairs. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Ethan. Why should students vote for you to become the next Vice President of University Affairs?
This position is not about what I can do, and it's not about my background, what I bring to the table. It's about what we can do together on this campus. Like I said, there are many issues on this campus that we have all, as student leaders, I want to say have disregarded, and I've just tried to move forward, keep on moving forward. Yet we're missing the main point of what students are wanting. Like I said, meal plan for that issue, I have thought about it, I found a solution, and to bring it up to administration of where in spring of 2022, rather during COVID when we were somewhere back in person for 3 weeks, they gave us a balance up front and by doing so, by giving the money up front, it helps the mental stress of other students. So to close, I say don't blindly vote for the student leaders up front and standing here, but to vote and look at the values and look at what they can bring to the table. Thank you.
Thank you, all three of you, for your responses. We'll be beginning the executive vice president debate now.
We just heard from Ethan Ho, Derek Herrera, and Ali Gallant, running for Vice President of University Affairs. They talked about mental health
All right.
awareness, what AS
Again, my
means to
name is
students,
Christian
and their
Hauser.
campaigns.
To my left
Up
is
next,
Daisha
we'll hear
Gary, the
from
assistant
Olivia
editor. I'm
Peachy
the
and
news
Sam
editor at the
McGowan,
Daily
running for
Aztec.
Executive Vice
If I could
President.
ask Sam and
Stay
Olivia
tuned
to
to meet the
please give a
candidates
brief
and to
introduction to
find
who
out
you
when to
are for 30 seconds. And whoever wants to start first.
I'll go ahead and start. Hello, everybody. Before I start, I would like to thank the Daily Aztec for being here today and allowing us the opportunity to speak about what we believe in and our values. I'd also like to thank all of my supporters for being here and those who are on the live stream and those who don't know me. I hope to have a conversation with you soon. I'd also like to acknowledge that we are on Kumeyaay land. With that, my name is Sam Lingao, and I'm a third-year psychology major with a minor in leadership development, and my involvements on campus do not involve AS, and I want to acknowledge that to start. Being that I am involved on other areas on campus, such as the SDSU Ambassador President, as well as the Vice President of Public Relations for Rotaract of SDSU, a service organization, I've come to understand what it is like firsthand to be a student who doesn't know what AS is, but has educated myself, and with the help of my team, I want to help make sure that students like me who have felt disconnected can then transfer into a more supportive student body. With that, I'm very excited to be here today, and I appreciate your support. Thank you.
I forgot to mention that if we raise the paper, it means you have a 20-second countdown. So I'll give Olivia 1 minute for the question, or give a brief introduction, please.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out today. It is critical that we all make informed decisions while voting in this election. My name is Olivia Peachy. I am a sophomore here at San Diego State, and I'm studying management and entrepreneurship. It is my mission in life to be a catalyst for positive change. My activity here involves on-campus and off-campus experience. Right now, I work as the Fowler College of Business representative for Associated Students. I'm also the strategic planning chair for Adapted Athletics, an amazing organization on campus that supports students with disabilities working at a collegiate level in athletics. And I'm also an active member of Delta Sigma Pi. Off campus, I work as the assistant director of TEDx San Diego, which gives me a broad understanding of the San Diego community. I'm so excited for the opportunity to step up and serve a greater role in the Associated Students and within the greater SDSU community. So thank you.
The next question will be 2 minutes, and it is first going to Olivia. Could you paint me a picture of the importance of the executive vice president role and what students should see from that position?
Thank you for the question. The executive vice president not only supports the president and the rest of the exec within Associated Students, but they also have the responsibility of leading Campus Life Council, and more than that, being a representative for the students on campus. It's a really crucial role because there's not just academics here in SDSU. There's also a really important focus on what students are doing on campus and how they are performing outside of school. The executive vice president also helps to lead mental health awareness initiatives on campus, and that is very important because it is important to take care of yourself first and the wellness and mindfulness of being a whole student and educating yourself not only in the classroom, but how to be an amazing leader and connect with other students and find the resources and to be an active member of the campus, not just through academics, but also on campus life. And And so the EVP is here to make sure that students are aware of everything that SDSU has to offer outside of the classroom, and as well as be a representative to listen to what they want to see.
Thank you. Sam, the same question will go for you. Can you paint me a picture of the importance of the executive vice president role and what students should see from that position?
I think this is a great question to acknowledge because, again, not having been in AS before, I wasn't quite aware of what the executive positions even meant or what it meant to be in AS. Being educated and taking time to learn what this role is, being the chief executive officer, and helping not only being supported by the executive officers along the board, as well as running the campus life council meetings, I've taken to understand that it really is not just the structure, it's the approachability, the honesty, and the transparency, not between just myself, the executive officers, the AS leaders, but also the administration and the student body. From my perspective, I want to use my role as someone who has felt alienated and confused to make students feel better understanding. The executive vice president is also in charge of the morale of the school, and I feel as if it is hard to have confidence and trust in the school if you don't even understand what the policies and processes are. So through this position, I hope to make sure that students understand that I will be approachable, not just today at the debate, standing here in front of you, but day in, day out, thinking of how I can help all of you. Thank you.
The next question will be for Sam. You'll have 3 minutes to respond. From your experience as president of SDSU Ambassadors, VP of Public Relations for Rotaract, and member of the Society for Human Resource Management and the Women's Network, what have you learned from these positions and memberships, and how will you apply it to being the executive vice president?
From my positions here on campus, transferring them over into this executive vice president position, I want to make sure that I am being forward with everybody. Being specifically the president of SDSU Ambassadors, I have reached and impacted and inspired and interacted with over 20,000 students, incoming students during new student orientation, on tours with our prospective students as well. And I see the direct questions and conversations that I have with them about the campus. And I think that it's important to not only address the questions of incoming students, but also answer questions from students who are still here and about to graduate. With that, there is lots of diversity on this campus, both cultural, academic, and student types, and I want to use this position specifically, seeing where students have questions in my role and transferring that into AS, creating a new perspective and a new approach. Specifically, I want to work with commuter students, transfer students, and also students who have not heard of AS before through specific outreach initiatives. Thank you.
This question is pointed to Olivia. From your experience as the AS College of Business representative, strategic planning chair for SDSU Adapted Athletics, and assistant director for TEDx San Diego, what have you learned from these positions, and how will you apply it to being the executive vice president?
Not only have I learned how to manage people in my leadership roles, but I've learned how powerful it is to listen. I learn and I live by the saying, seek first to understand, then to be understood, which is an important thing to recognize. I've seen it go both ways in leadership through my extensive experiences. I've seen leaders of both types, leaders who like to talk and leaders who like to listen. It is undeniably crucial to listen to what students are saying, what they're struggling with, celebrate their successes with them, and to just listen. I also learned how to communicate empathetically with people, and it's important to be an empathetic leader. It is important to identify with the other people on campus and to seek to understand them. I'm not up here because I think I know what is best for the school, but rather because I know what it takes, based on my experiences, to listen and understand and take action for the students. With the Fowler College of Business specifically, I have learned how to pass on any information and communication, whether that be complaints within the Fowler College of Business, or by taking members with me and students in the college to hear what they have to say and gain a deeper understanding, and then bring that to the higher-ups in associate students. In adapted athletics, those students are really hardworking collegiate athletes, and when I ask other people on campus, because I'm proud of this organization, most people don't know what SDSU Adapted Athletics is. And it's important to also recognize that these students are working hard and that they are students that should be celebrated as well. I work on the business structure side to help grow the internal culture as well as to spread the word to the students on campus. And through these experiences, I've learned what it takes to be an executive vice president. Thank you.
The next question, you'll have 2 minutes to respond. This will be for Olivia. In your statement, you said you wanted to work with the AS president to create clear paths to employment for students post-graduation. How do you plan on doing this?
So as a management and entrepreneurship student, I am very passionate about business. And Tarek, who's running for president alongside me, is also very passionate about business as a finance major. I currently go and do presentations in classrooms 2 to 3 times a week when teachers allow me to further explain to students how to use resources such as LinkedIn and Handshake to inspire action and to get jobs that they deserve. Another mission in my life is I will never apply to a job because I think it's important to do the research and to take action and to figure out what you really want to do with your life and reach out to those people and try to make it possible for yourself. And it's hard for students to know how to get a job after college. It's not something that is just easy to know without getting the direct tools. So the president and I really want to take initiatives to teach students how to take pride in what they want to do and to go and use the resources available. Because we want every student to not only be educated inside of the classroom, but be ready to become active leaders in whatever position and job they decide to do after college after they leave SDSU.
The next question is for Sam. In your statement, you said you plan on promoting the accessibility of resources to create trust within the community. How are you going to do this?
Thank you for that question. I really want to focus on that trust aspect. Other members on my team have talked about the accessibility, and when it comes to accessibility resources, I can focus on working with the rest of my executive members to reach out and make sure that not only are our needs accessible, but they're understood. Focusing on that trust aspect is students don't necessarily trust the university, not because the university isn't doing good enough, but because they may just not understand. And so with that, the transparency of not only accessibility into resources, but really reframing and restructuring how AS approaches the accessibility and the marketing. I would work with Campus Life Council members to make sure that all students are heard of. And again, focusing on my work prior with new student orientation, I really see where students are being educated, but where we can do a little bit better. Specifically with the overall role of trust, I understand what it's like to not know where you're going, and I don't know how I ended up here today, but through the help of other people and through the encouragement, I plan to use what I have learned through AS and through my involvements on campus to make sure that I can take a different approach when it comes to working with other executive leaders and AS officers. Thank you.
The question will be back to you, Sam, and also the same question will be extended to Olivia after. Both of your statements included points on addressing and expanding resources for mental health. Why is that important to you, and what do you plan on doing?
Mental health is a stigmatized topic here on campus, across the world, and we've seen that in this post-pandemic era. I personally deal with mental health. It is difficult, and I think it's funny that some people here think I'm standing up here today fully confident, knowing what I'm talking about. And while I do have knowledge, I do admit I'm struggling as well. It is hard to balance being a student leader with being an academic student, with having personal family problems. All of us are going through different things, and I recognize that. And that's why the approachability and the transparency of being a leader as your executive vice president is so crucial and so important to me. Mental health is one of my top priorities, not because I go through it, because I know it touches every single student here. Mental health ranges from the visible to the invisible to temporary to different resources here on campus, and I just want to make sure that students are not only focusing on physical health, but that wellness component, because you are humans first and students second. Thank you.
The same question for Olivia. Both of your statements included points on addressing and expanding resources for mental health. Why is that important to you, and what do you plan on doing?
Advocating for mental health has always been important to me my entire life. I'm really lucky that I grew up with a really strong mother who believes in therapy and believes in practicing beneficial ways and healthy ways to release and work on stress and mental health. Here at SDSU, the exec team before us, and Mina specifically, has done an amazing job to work on mental health initiatives through this campus. But I think a lot of the times I come with the perception that people also know how to deal with mental health and that they know that they should go to therapy or they know that working out is a good way to release and work on your mental health. But that's not the case. And a lot of students have never had parents or supporting people in their lives to support them to go and take the time to work on yourself. Because Ali, VPUA, is going to be focusing on academics and I'm more campus life and educating the whole student outside of the classroom, I'm really passionate about continuing the initiatives for mental health. Mending Minds is working closely with the rec to provide opportunities with classes and ways for students to use physical activity to help them with mental health, but there are so many other ways. I try to stress to all my friends the importance of balance. I kind of go by the rule of 3 usually, and that is school, work, and then working on mental health. It's important that you are not only a student first, but you are working on yourself and taking care of yourself first. There are many other ways, such as getting good sleep, or eating well, or journaling, or listening to music, or petting a dog, that seems simple, but sometimes it's often neglected because people want to stay up all night studying because they think that is the right answer. I just really want to show my passion through this role to help people take care of themselves first because you're with yourself forever. Thank you.
The next section will be a debate section. You'll have 3 minutes, and feel free to go back and forth or just have an open discussion on stage. The question is, both of you have chose to run for different slates in this year's election. Why did you choose to run on a slate such as SDSU United and SDSU for You? And why is your slate better equipped for the role of leaders on campus? Feel free. Anyone to begin.
Both of the slates include people that I have worked alongside with for the last 2 years here at SDSU, and I'm very proud of everyone on both of the slates. When I started talking to this slate specifically that I'm working with today, SDSU for You, I was overwhelmed with gratitude and the feeling of opportunity that this slate would bring to the school. Specifically, Tarek and Noah, who I started talking to first, I have admired them for the last 2 years, seeing them being leaders on campus. They're so involved and they have so much passion and they speak to students, and I see them making active changes every day within the life of students. You can really see how much they care, and I have very similar goals that align with that, which is to be out where the students actually are, go talk to the students. You see Tarek go up to every single student on this campus. Every single person knows who he is and what he stands for. And it's not just because he's the loudest person in the room, but it's because he makes you feel like he cares about what you're saying and what you want to hear, which I think is so inspiring. The rest of the slate, I've gotten to know even better. I mean, Ali, we were neighbors freshman year, and I just had the best time getting to know her throughout my freshman year. But everyone else, including Josh and Carter, who are sitting right here, and Itzel, we just have spent every second of the last few weeks together, and like Josh said yesterday, we have laughed together, we have cried together, and they're just such an amazing group of students, and I think that they are just so competent and ready to step into this role and show SDSU that we really want to get to know every single student and see what they want, and I'm just very excited to be running with this slate. SDSU for You is amazing.
Sam, you'll have 1 minute and 40 seconds to respond.
Honestly, I never saw myself in AS, as I said. I'm a third year, I felt disconnected. I was totally fine walking backwards as an SDSU ambassador and really working with those incoming students. The reason why I'm here today and running on the slate, SDSU United, is because Leanne reached out to me, and I think that just goes to show what AS is, inclusivity. If Leanne hadn't reached out to me and built this team and helped us and educated me in what it means to be here today, I would have just stayed where I was in a red polo working with other organizations on campus. So when we talk about inclusivity and our goals of uniting the campus, Leanne reaching out to me as a student who has never been in AS but empowering me, that is exactly what our goals are as a team. I am so proud, and I would not be standing here today without the support, encouragement of this team and of my supporters around me. And it is so uplifting, and I would not be so passionate about being here if it weren't for a team that I believed in. Quite frankly, I work a job that is very draining. My mental health is deteriorating, honestly, but I am proud to say that this role, although a big one, is a role that I'm ready to take on because I am so, so proud of all the hard work and effort we have put in. We've been doing walkarounds recently, and we've stated that it's not just once we get elected, once you come to us about your concerns. It is starting now. Whether or not I get this position, I still want to be a student leader, so feel free to come up to me, and I hope that you vote for me not because you know my name, but because you know who I am. Thank you.
The next section will also be a 3-minute debate. Feel free to go back and forth. The question is, what are some of the negative things you saw this year that you want to change next year? And what were some of the things that you saw that you want to make sure stay around?
Okay, so in regards to the positive, starting with the positive, I think that the current executives and the current AS leaders have done a great job of moving from a post-pandemic era into a fully in-person, as well as some difficulties in that transition. I think that there's been a great support and morale in terms of the student body really stepping into what it means to be a student here and taking advantage of resources. But I also acknowledge that there is still lots of work to be done. In terms of negativity, I would say that there seems to be a disconnect of what AS is and what it means to be a student leader. When it comes to being a student leader, it's not about how many meetings do you go to, how many hours can you brag about working on homework, how many mental health times did you cry, because that's somewhat funny nowadays when it shouldn't be. The negativities are realizing that AS should be cohesive year by year and working on improving and continuing the growth that the past AS and the current AS has done. I want to make sure that that cohesion stays through, because if we as students are not connected year by year and we just keep on adding new slates and new members and new ideas, we're not going to be able to work with administration. So making sure that not only are we taking care of what needs to be done, but addressing that there needs to be cohesion through it all, and that's what SDS United is. My role as Executive Vice President would be helping with that morale and making sure that students feel heard and seen. Thank you.
Does that mean I have 20 seconds left for that?
No, you'll have 1 minute and 30 seconds to
Okay.
respond.
Okay, beautiful, thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna go a little bit of a different route with that. One negative, or it kind of encapsulates a lot of issues, but doing the walkarounds for the past few weeks, but then also being a Fowler College of Business representative, where I go to all the business organizations on campus to see what is happening. Students are frustrated with the lack of communication, and they don't know how to find resources. There seems to be this idea that students should come find AS and should come find what AS has to offer. But students, when they have an issue about housing, they don't know what to do about it. I personally have taken over 50 freshmen, which is on tours of the sophomore housing, and explained to them how the housing works because they don't know where to find that information. I also sit with my friends when they are on the financial Zooms, not knowing who to talk to, not getting the information they want with certain issues like my SDSU charging weirdly. I know there was some issues with that, and Allie is very passionate about helping with that. But students just don't know where to go. I also have seen many issues with teachers and students getting into uncomfortable positions and students not knowing where to go for that either. Where do they go when a teacher makes them feel uncomfortable or unheard and they don't feel like they have a safe space to reach out and tell because they don't think that anything will happen? It's really important that students know where to find the resources. I am optimistic that we will be able to find this solution though. And a positive, are you telling me to stop? Or is that funny, sorry. Okay, thank you guys. And positive, I wanted to just say really quickly, the exec team now is just doing an amazing job with the passion to lead and courage to care. And I'm excited to have the opportunity to continue.
For the last question, you'll have 1.5 minutes each. This question goes to Olivia. What do you want to say in closing to explain to the audience and viewers at home that you're the right fit for the role?
I wanted to start by saying thank you all again for being here, and thank you to everyone who will be watching, and I know that you probably wanted to be here. I am right, because although I have extensive experience in leadership roles and I have shown my passion for this community, I also have a passion for being an authentic, transparent student that is just for the students and in our community to be talking and showing the students that we are the same and that we are all here for the same thing, to be educated and to move on with our lives and have an amazing career or traveling or whatever goals are, to hear students and listen to them and realize that I am here for you, for the students, and that I am proud to be part of SDSU for you, and that I'm ready to be the EVP and to rep all students. Thank you.
Same question to you. I can repeat it if you'd like.
Can you repeat it, please?
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course. What do you want to say in closing to explain to the audience that you're the right fit for the role?
To the audience, listeners, supporters, and people I hope that I can converse with soon, you should vote for me because I care. You can teach somebody how to do this job, but you can't teach people how to care as much as I do. Using my experiences as the SDSU ambassador and other organizations here on campus, I really am committed to making sure that you're heard. And I understand that I won't be able to reach all 35,000 plus of you, but I'm going to attempt to. I really am. And through my initiatives of trying to incorporate accessibility to resources, intentional outreach to make sure that all students like myself are included in AS and have a spot at that table and conversation, as well as helping with mental and physical resources, I really hope that you see through me, not just for what I look like or where I've been involved in before. I think that there's passion in me, and at the heart of it, I just care a lot about this university, and I hope and I understand that some students don't feel the same way. So I want to make sure that students can leave here feeling a little bit supported because of me and with the help of my team. So thank you. Have a nice day.
That will conclude the debating today. I did want to mention that tomorrow the debate for presidential race will be in Union Courtyard from 12 to 1 p.m. But if it is raining, it will be moved in here. And thank you all for coming out, and thank you to all the candidates that were on stage today.
That was Olivia Peachy and Sam Legal for Executive Vice President. They talked about leadership and being representatives for students on campus. Join us tomorrow at noon in the Aztec Student Union Courtyard for presidential debates. Unless it's raining, then we'll be back here in the theater, or catch us here on the live stream. Voting will start Monday through Thursday next week at 7 p.m. Results will be announced at 9 p.m. on Thursday the 23rd. In the Aztec Student Union Theater, Alex Live, the Daily Aztec.